This is a place for planting, for digging, for harvesting, for relaxing. It's a place to get your hands dirty, but most of all, it's about having fun. And that's what you'll always have when you're in the garden with Doug Oster. You want a green thumb too, don't you? The day has finally come. Tomatoes and peppers go in the ground, but not all of them, just the first planting. I'm going to show you how to use newspaper after you read my column in the paper to deal with weeds. Let's go to work. It is just the start of the season for planting tomatoes and peppers. Like I said, we'll put these in, but I'll be planting all the way through July because these plants love warm soil temperatures. They love warm air temperatures. And when we mix up the plantings, when we continue the succession planting, we're not putting all our eggs in one basket by planting all the same day. Now this bed has been prepared with some compost. You didn't need to see that again. And now we're going to make it weed-free by covering it with 8 to 10 sheets of newspaper. And then we're going to poke right through it to plant our peppers and a little bit of basil too. And luckily it is not windy out today, but we're still going to put a little bit of water on this to keep these in place. A sail. This will look a lot better than newspaper. The reason we're using newspaper is it will rot down during the season and we just replace it every year. There's nothing in the newspaper that can hurt us. It's water-based and soy-based inks, so everything's okay. All right, let's get this stuff in the ground. We're going right between the newspaper down there, as you can see. We got nice compost in there. And in goes our basil. Summer is all about basil. All right, next is the peppers. While I do that, meet me over at the bed behind me. We're going to plant some tomatoes in a way you might not have seen before, in a way I love to plant. Have you heard of horizontal planting for tomatoes? We're not going to sink this straight down in the ground. We're going to take off all these leaves, turn it sideways, and plant it in a trench. That keeps these roots up high. All these little hairs that are on here are going to become roots, and they're going to be up where there's warmth and where there's going to be water. First is the trench. Soil looks pretty good. Trench looks about right. Now we will pick these off all the way up here. And all this, as I said, will become roots. Oh, that is perfect. Oh, that is perfect. Now don't worry about this. That is going to come straight up on its own. All right, that is perfect. A little water. We just have to know where this root zone is, because you wouldn't want to put a stake right through that. I'm going to put a little compost on top and a little mulch. That's all there is to it. Try a few tomatoes as horizontal planting. Put a few early peppers in, mix it up a little bit. Now the next thing we're going to look at, one of my favorite things that happens in the garden. It's called a happy accident. First year for these chives, I just stuck them in here for a place to have them. And then with this beautiful yellow corydalus behind it, purple and yellow, those two things go together. Do you like it? Well, it was just last week that we planted this designer jeans hosta, and I talked about my obsession for hostas with red stems. Well, the deer have made it easy to see the red stems by eating all the top leaves off. So we're back to old Bobex, and I'm not going to spray it until Jasmine gets out of here because she can't stand the way it smells, and neither can the deer. So that's the next job. And then we're going to look at hydrangeas. How are yours doing? Those deer keep coming closer and closer, and they have no fear. Max the Wonder Dog can't chase them anymore, so we're going to have to spray. We are 30 feet away from where I just sprayed, and I can smell it pretty good here. So hopefully that'll keep the deer off those hostas. Now, your hydrangea, does it look anything like this? You might think that's a dead stick, and it might be, but it could bloom. We can't cut this back yet. We've got to wait until June to see if we get any other blooms, but Winter was tough on hydrangeas. We'll have to see what's going to happen. All right, let's finish up. You know, I think I've done the whole show sitting down. That's the way to garden. Maybe I'm getting old. Can you believe it's been 2 months already that we've been enjoying these pansies? They love cold weather. They're going to go for a couple more months, which is great. And that's what I love about gardening. There's so many different ways to do it. If it works for you, it's the right way. Now check me out online. There's more stories there, blog posts, videos, and a complete story on how to keep those tomatoes we just planted disease-free. Now, this time of the year, you can see I've got a lot of work to do. There's weeds everywhere, but don't let it overwhelm you. Till next week, that's what I'm off to do. I'm going to be doing some weeding, and I've put it off for long enough. We'll see you then.
Come on, Max.